Does it make you feel confident heading into the election just a week away that these platforms have the tool to limit misinformation or disinformation?
It makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if I would call it confidence. Willie Sutton robbed banks because that's where the money is. Foreign actors are going to these platforms because that's where the influence is. And ultimately, America has a controversy addiction. We are all clicking and retweeting and liking and sharing this content, and these foreign actors are happy to provide a steady stream of that. And so one of the challenges that these platforms are now facing is how do you separate the dynamics that allow the mis and disinformation from spreading from those dynamics that are core to the existence of the platform. I can slow someone from stealing my car by slashing the tires, but it's not really useful for me as a car anymore. And some of the actions that you see from the platform, I think you will see slow down some engagement and other activity. But net, every effort is a good step ahead of this election.
Adam, you just said America has a controversy addiction, but I just wonder, some might argue that these platforms are encouraging that addiction. There was a recent study suggesting that Facebook actually encourages this polarization and chaos more so than other platforms like Reddit.
Well, certainly these platforms are built on engagement. The core driver is what gets you to click that like button, to click that share button. And for years, the algorithms, all these platforms have been optimized for exactly that. And that optimization is exactly what the spreaders of mis and disinformation are counting on. But as I said before, it is impossible to divorce these dynamics from each other. It's impossible to say, I want to make sure that all the dynamics are there so that positive content can spread and go viral, and you can have an Arab Spring, a Black Lives Matter, all these movements that foment beautifully on the platforms, but I want to make sure that content that I might not approve of immediately stops dead in its tracks. And that is the delicate needle that these companies are trying to thread.
Adam, from an advertiser's point of view, I mean, there was a period long ago where people shopping for cars, weren't that interested in whether or not it had seatbelts. But eventually people came to value that and would pay more for a car with seatbelts. So I guess I wonder, does an advertiser feel good if engagement is maybe a little bit more limited, but the content is considered, I guess, marginally more safe?
The advertisers certainly care about the brand safety and reputation of basically the neighborhood they occupy. And I think this is one reason why each of these tech companies has in recent years started taking this stuff more seriously. One reason why there was perhaps less concern about it in the past was that engagement was strong. The ad business was strong. They didn't want to mess with that. It's sort of the Hippocratic oath of running a publicly traded tech company. But as conversations started to turn to abuse on these platforms, growth of white supremacy, election misinformation, and so on, and those advertisers started voicing those concerns of, wait, I don't know if I want my brand adjacent to this kind of conversation. And you started seeing user growth stall on these platforms and focus groups saying that the fear that I'd be wading into a cesspool of hate or whatever was a main driver for users hanging back. That is what then created that economic incentive for these companies to really tackle these issues and try to dig in much deeper. That, and of course, the fear of regulation. And so certainly that pressure from advertisers to create a more brand safe environment is a critical part to driving these companies to make changes.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.